Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. All right, welcome in, everybody. Pull yourself up a ringside seat. Time for another episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. And with this one, it's story time with Adam Cole, baby.
Uh-oh, here we go.
All right, we're showing AEW some love in this episode, talking about the current state of AEW. Frank, how we doing today, man?
Oh, all is well. They're gearing up here for another Dynamite here, fresh off of WrestleMania. So now it's time to start spreading the love around, spread it around a little bit. Let's talk about some indies. Let's talk about the number two. Let's talk about some other wrestling out there.
So we're going to talk about AEW in this episode, talk about the current state of AEW. And in my opinion, AEW's we've been on life support, it seems like, with AEW.
Yeah, a lot of that I think is the WrestleMania stuff. I mean, with WrestleMania being so big, and I mean, it's just really dominated all the conversation, all the podcasts. I mean, everybody out is talking WrestleMania right now. So with that in the rearview mirror, we're able to start pushing forward. Tony Khan's going to make another major announcement every week.
Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday until no more major, until the word major isn't grand enough and he comes up with a new word.
Yeah, he has bastardized that a little bit.
Yeah, everything has been a huge announcement. What's crazy is his last huge announcement, I felt, wasn't even the biggest announcement of that particular day. They announced the show that they're going to do in Wembley Stadium, which, don't get me wrong, that's huge news. But for me, them being able to sign probably the hottest free agent out right now in Jay White was actually bigger news. So it seems like that would have been the major announcement. But I mean, I guess it depends on what angle you're looking at it from. But for me, a talent signing like that would have been the biggest news. But you can't really say major announcement coming the day after you make a major announcement.
Yeah.
So.
But, AEW, I don't want to say they got stale, but I think all of the backstage drama kind of pulled to the forefront instead of what was being showcased in ring.
Yeah.
And that's, it is what it is. I've heard several Hall of Famers give their take on it as like, look, you're a fool if you think stuff like that didn't happen in the back all these years. So, I mean,
because everybody else had sense enough to keep it in the back.
Correct.
AEW made a whole show out of it called All Access, where they're just going to quote unquote showcase it. They're going to reference it. They're not really going to give you any actual information about it, but they're going to let you know it happened and then rush away from it real quick. So, I mean, that was their idea with it, which I guess.
Yeah, but in this day and age too, I mean, in the day and age of the cell phone and everybody's got a camera in their pocket, you can't keep stuff under wraps anymore.
You're not getting away with that kind of stuff.
Not anymore, yeah. But hopefully, they're getting back to the in-ring product. Again, the work rate of always John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, people like that, they're always going to shine. Those guys are phenomenal in the ring.
Yeah.
But I need my other players back too, the Young Bucks. I need Kenny Omega back.
Yeah.
I need this whole mess with Jericho and the JAS. If you're going to give me that and feed me that bull crap, at least make it entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So what the tag team in the JAS is doing with the Acclaimed, that's bringing out some interest. So
it is.
I mean, and before anybody that's listening thinks this is going to be a boo AEW, it's totally not.
No.
I mean, I was actually excited about talking about AEW because the whole Wembley show has got me really intrigued. So I'm anxiously looking for them to build on some of the stories that they have. I mean, the Acclaimed, I really like the Acclaimed. I don't know how I feel about the whole Four Pillars thing right now, just because.
So I was going to get into that a little bit.
Just the visual of it. I mean, for me, the visual of it is on the other side. We just got done looking at Cody and Roman, and then Brock Lesnar's in the mix and all. So we had all that. The visual on the other side, I get it because, MJF's like a smaller guy, so you want some of the smaller. But I mean, when I'm thinking of like heavyweight contenders or world title matches. I'm not thinking of like Jungle Boy and, stuff like that just yet. Maybe AEW. I mean, they don't have a pay-per-view every month, so they've got time to build these characters up. So they may get to a point where I see that, but just right now, I mean, I feel like they just lined up 4 guys for MJF to plow through, just to show.
So that's where my take on it is, I don't want MJF versus Jungle Boy. I don't want MJF versus Darby Allin. I don't want MJF versus Sammy Guevara.
No.
What I do want though is a 4-way dance.
Yeah, and inevitably that's where it's going.
And I think that's where it's going.
Yeah. So we're getting in the weeds here now.
We got to pop the top there.
All right. There we go. So, yeah, I do think that's where it's going. Just the only thing about it, so, with not to harken back to WWE again, but I mean, the Cody Roman main event of WrestleMania, there was a lot of, confusion about who may win. A lot of people had a lot of different opinions. It was really, really up in the air. I feel like lining up those 4 guys in a 4-way dance is just a good way to put MJF over. I mean, to make him a strong character. I don't feel like there's that threat of him losing the title with those 4 characters. I just don't. I mean,
no, I think he can successfully come out of that holding on to the title. I don't think it's ready for him to lose that title just yet. But I also think you're talking about 4 guys who has differing, various styles of offense.
Yep.
You've got some high flyer, you got some technical, you've got some, what do they call, chicken shit heel with MJF. Yeah. So there's going to be a different mix of styles if they make that happen.
There's going to be a styles clash.
Oh, a styles clash. That's
nice.
A good one.
There
That's
we
a good
go.
one. There you go, sir.
You served it up. I knocked it out of the park. There we go.
But, I want to see it, the 4-way dance. Do I think MJF retains? Yes, I do. Do I think it's totally possible somebody else can come out of that? Maybe. But I don't think it's time.
When you look at that belt, when you look at the AEW World Championship belt, that belt's bigger than Jungle Boy with wise. So I mean, he can't hold.
No,
Darby's about the same deal. I mean,
toothpick.
Yeah, I did right. So Sammy. Yeah, I mean, maybe I could see him as World Championship material down the road.
Yeah,
but not today.
That's why I say though the chances are slim.
Yeah,
I mean it could happen. I don't see them making that change though right now.
No,
I
just don't want it to be that obvious. I mean, we definitely know it's nowhere near time for MJF to drop the belt, but don't tell me it too. Make me believe that there's a shot.
Right.
That he's gonna lose it. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they're teeing that up. They're also teeing up the Blackpool Combat Club against the Elite. Yep. We're starting to see that kind of form.
Now that's interesting.
That's interesting. That's very interesting because there is so many different ways that can go.
Yeah, singles matches, tag matches.
Yep.
3 ways, 4 ways. I mean, you can involve a lot of other characters. They can look into bringing Hangman back in and, make him relevant again. And, there's a lot of different ways they can go with that. So that's very interesting. So now that has potential to be good damn TV.
Yeah, and Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, those are 2 of my favorites. And to me, they've won it. I think they went up against each other once. And it was a draw, right?
Yeah. When I wanted to call him Daniel Bryan. When Bryan Danielson came in, that's how he came in. Yep. He started out with Kenny. So and that was a good match.
That was a great match.
So and now here's something that shares in common with the main event, the heavyweight title. The work rate, the in-ring is going to be fabulous. So, with the 4 guys we already referenced, these 2 factions here going, the in-ring is going to be amazing. I'm just interested to see how they're going to draw you in with the storytelling, but the in-ring work, you ain't gonna miss a beat on that. That's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm also interested, even though I feel like he gets knocked down the ladder quite a bit. I am interested to see what they're going to continue to do with Orange Cassidy and this. What are they calling it? It's
the international
belt. God, it's so hard not to call that the intercontinental belt.
Yeah. Or what was it before, the all
Atlantic belt?
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
But I mean, so honestly, I don't think they need that belt involved with whatever that feud is. Orange Cassidy was standing on his own without it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess giving it to him, okay, you're rewarding a guy who's been there since the start. He's put in a lot of work for the company. You reward him with a title, but does it really carry enough meaning behind it to say, man, I'm really invested in seeing this type? Not really. Orange Cassidy, like his gimmick for me is hilarious. I love it every time I see it. So yeah. I'm there for that every minute. They can do whatever they need to do with that belt thing. But
somebody else that we're kind of into right now is the signing of one of the hottest free agents to hit the market.
Now we're talking. Hold on. Can I re-crack this beer over? Now we're talking.
So everybody, if you don't know, Jay White has signed with AEW coming out of New Japan. Switchblade Jay White is one of the most phenomenal AJ Styles. Right. Jay White is just crazy good in the ring. Some of the matches that he's put on in the past, being in New Japan, go check him out. His match with Naito, his match with Okada, just some crazy good matches. Even Eddie Kingston, he's put it up with Eddie Kingston in the past. Yep.
I mean, he's been through AEW, for a cup
here and
of
there.
coffee.
He's sprinkled in here.
He dropped it for a couple, but we didn't get the payout that we were really looking for. So. And not coincidental that he was signed immediately after they announced that Wembley Stadium sign, because I mean they're gonna need to bring their bangers out for that one. You're not gonna be able to get away with a here nor there type thing. You're gonna have to bring in some big names for selling out Wembley, because Wembley can hold 90,000. So
let's go ahead and dive into Wembley. You said it right there. It can hold 90,000.
Yeah.
Are we looking at this like, oh my God, this could be the craziest thing that we've ever seen a non-WWE product do? Or are we looking at this in a Vince McMahon theme song? No chance in hell they gonna sell this place out.
So, well, they're not gonna seed it for 90. I'm sure,
they won't seed it for 90. You're right.
You got to be sure that they're gonna do, tarp off what they need to. They got to play into their strengths.
Right.
They got to know 90 is a stretch. I mean, WrestleMania this weekend at SoFi only got 80 each night. So, I mean, getting 90 is like, whoo, I mean, you're pulling, so.
And I think it can hold, like, SoFi was able to hold at least 100,000 if they would have, if they would have configured it just a stage the ring in the middle.
With that elaborate stage they had up there.
That stage was huge.
That was 30,000 seats right there, no matter what. So, I mean, it was fabulous. So, and AEW is not going to do that. They're not going to stage themselves out, but they also got to account for, selling 90,000 tickets is just hard.
And that's something else you mentioned right there, even though you didn't use it in the context that I'm going to take it in, the stage. We've not seen very elaborate production sets out of AEW yet.
No, they're like WCW cast-off stadium so far.
So what in the hell are they going to do for Wembley? I don't even know.
So the only time I've ever seen Wembley Stadium is when SummerSlam was there back in '92, and they didn't have a big stage there. So, and I don't think they had 90,000 either, which means AEW get 90. Oh, I don't know that. If they do it, that'll be the very first time, with all that they've already accomplished, that'll be the very first time that WWE would literally have to stand up and say, oh my God, we're in a dogfight.
So what you just said right there, first time, this is also their first time overseas.
Yeah.
They have never been out of the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they're barely getting the West Coast at this point. So
but I mean, so they haven't been out of the United States as AEW, but I mean, most of their talent has been out of state.
Talent speaking.
And they've sold out, the Tokyo Dome. They've sold out arenas. The guys that they're going to take over there, they've sold out plenty of arenas. So I mean, it won't be impossible to get a good showing. I don't think 90,000 is going to be. I think WWE, when they did Clash at the Castle, obviously they weren't in Wembley Stadium. They were, in an arena. But I mean, I think they got like 50. So chances are they'll be. I mean, so I'm confident they'll beat 50.
So let's flip it.
Wembley holds more. I feel like they can beat 50.
Let's flip it and look at it this way, though. AEW has been around for how many years now? 5?
3.
3 on TV, but 5 altogether, I believe. Counting the first All In, because when they do
in 2018,
when they do All In, it's going to be the 5th year anniversary of the All In. So they've been around for 5. So my thing is, though, think about this for a minute. You've been around for a cup of coffee. You've been around for 5 years.
Yeah,
you're playing Wembley.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, yeah. So now at the top of that, so Tony Khan, the Khan family, they own a football team over there in England. So, I mean, they're not strangers to the territory.
No, not
they
strangers.
know what they're dealing with. So they know what getting Wembley is, but being able to sell it out, I mean, $90,000.
I mean,
we haven't. WWE's only had 2 pay-per-views go over $90,000 total, and that was WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 32, Pontiac Silverdome, and WrestleMania 32 in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
2. That's only twice that they've gone over 90. So if AEW were to go over 90, I mean, at that point, they're on WCW territory when WCW started their 83 weeks.
Yeah.
That could be monumental if they get it. If they get half of it, that could be a sign of, that could dispel doom. If they seat it set for 70,000 people and they only get 40, that's hell in a handbasket there. That's trouble.
Agreed, but I think you said it best. They're going to play to their strengths. They're going to seat it accordingly, I do believe. But I think what this is doing, in my mind at least, in my opinion of AEW right now, they are going from, if they do this right and they pull it off right, they're going to go from making a small ripple in a big pond to a wave in a big pond. I think it's going to cause more people to sit up and take notice of going, oh yeah, there is another thing that I can watch on TV.
Yeah, it's definitely going to give them the exposure that, depending on how they do. I mean, as of right now, they haven't announced if it's even going to be on TV, if it's going to be a pay-per-view. They haven't said anything. All they said is they're doing it. My thinking is, though, and I mean, we're about to get real down in the dirt now. So some of that hidden stuff that I've been waiting to say. You got a lot of names out there that they can bring in. I mean, there were
dream matches. Yeah,
there were rumors this week that Okada tweeted out to Jay White, so something about interest in that. I mean, let's go further in the weeds. Just from other stuff we heard, I heard Drew McIntyre didn't re-sign his contract yet. I don't know if he re-signed it up till now, but I know up till the weekend he hadn't. Could Drew be possibly thinking of, maybe headlining a Wembley Stadium pay-per-view for AEW?
Maybe. You never know.
I mean, they let Goldberg's contract expire recently. Could Tony Khan say, hey, we need a huge name that sold out, multiple arenas. Could they bring in a Goldberg?
So Omega and Ospreay sold out the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Could we get that?
Call in a Will Ospreay and say, hey, I mean, he's already worked with AEW countless times. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a call in, it would just be a call over for him.
Yep.
Do you bring him in? Do you have those kind of, I mean, like you said, at this point now, to sell it, if you want to really say, we're going to put a strong push in to sell out 90,000, hey, you start calling anybody who's not contracted to WWE, you start making those phone calls and say, hey, one off.
Yeah.
It's not that much money for a billionaire, to say, hey, I give you $1 million for a night for a one-off for 4 or 5 guys. That's not asking that much if you sell out 90,000.
So if they are going over and they're playing the world as a stage, why not make your world a stage? I mean, if he's going to throw, money at this, why not bring in hitters from New Japan, hitters from AAA? Why not bring in all of these guys? If you can get somebody, why not include some WWE guys?
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. But what we can say is at least they're in the conversation.
Yeah. Well,
at least they're in the conversation.
From the last month and a half of being WWE-centric because of WrestleMania and all that, for AEW to have a story this big immediately after WrestleMania that brings this kind of interest definitely has me intrigued for all that.
Yep, definitely. So we're excited for what AEW is bringing to the table, their current product. It's getting some interest. It's getting some momentum. Come on, TK, bring it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go, TK.
We're ready. I'm here for it. So load us up. He's got 4 months until that pay-per-view or until that event. So he's got a lot of time.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it. Hit us up on our social media post. And with that, everybody, we bid you adieu.
Peace.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.